Hello, my name is Brandy Hofer, your host and founder of Color Me Happy, a community podcast and book, all of which I started in my in-home studio whilst in the throes of motherhood. I am an artist, author, educator, and mother to 3 beautiful boys. We live and create together in our in-home studio that is tucked away in the quiet Canadian prairies. Our podcast and community was built to empower and inspire. We chat about everything from motherhood, the art world, business, and health in the most honest and authentic way. It's totally unedited and unfiltered. If you love what we do here, become a part of our free community, Color Me Happy. We have grown the community to support our members with features and interviews. Our link is in the notes. Thank you for being here. I sure do appreciate your time. Welcome to Color Me Happy podcast. Thank you for being here. My name is Brandy, your host. I'm really excited about this conversation we had with Catherine today because she takes us through how building your subscribers list and having a unique path to success with your creative business can basically sustain your career, sustain your practice, and it can be your full-time job. It just depends on what path you want to take, where you are happiest, really. What are you happiest doing? And she loves creating content for YouTube and then having those freebie giveaways and building her subscribers list and then selling her classes and finding success in different pieces of the pie. So this is a really in-depth episode. Catherine's always full of copious amounts of information that we can take away and learn from. And not only that, but she's a viral sensation. She does really well on her socials, and there's so much just to take away from even observing her as a creative, which I have done, and I've now had the great honor of becoming friends with her and getting to know her better in not just a professional level, but as a person, and we message back and forth, and she has a lot of great advice. So I'm sure you will feel the same way when you listen to this episode. Get our free marketing thing in the notes below. It will take you in how we have found success as a creative in social media, and how that can redefine your practice and get you there on a little budget, which not all of us have the hugest ad budget. So I'm going to get you started on that in the best way that I know how to show you, and from what I've gained the knowledge in the past 5 years, as social media has completely taken over everyone's creative career, and how to have fun with it and how to use your creativity to really enjoy yourself, because it really is another way of creating, and I want you to think about it that way. So join us there. We can't wait to hear from you. You can always, my kids are home. You can always find us in the Color Me Happy community on Facebook, our free community, as well as Brandy Hofer Studios on Instagram. We're happy to chat anytime. Feel free to reach out and enjoy. Thanks. Bye. On to my passion and the things that I do, because, for example, the podcast, I get to talk and meet with other creatives, like-minded people, and that fills my connection cup. So it's just about, I guess, time and balance management. So my dad does pick him up on Wednesdays, but before that, we built a marble set, a pillow fort.
Today?
They get up at 6:30. We've played with the chickens a lot. And so by the time my dad gets here, my Teddy cup is full and I'm ready for something else.
How long will Teddy be gone?
He'll be gone till about 2:30.
Wow,
and
that's
then
not much
I
time.
edit and do the podcast. Yeah, I have to be really efficient with the time I have on the in-betweens. Yeah, how are you? What's new?
I'm good. How are you? All is well.
Guess what?
What?
We yesterday in my art academy, through our public school system, we were featuring you as our artist.
Really?
Yeah, we're doing abstract expressionism mixed with collage, and so we had you playing all day.
You had me playing all day. How were you doing that?
Your
How are you doing
YouTube
that?
Well, we had your YouTube, and then we had a lot of your Instagram reels, so they could understand the process of layering. So we were making our own papers. We were making our own papers with jelly printing. And so we were prepping for the projects, but of course they were really itching to get started. So a lot of them started the projects, and they were very precious about them. Like they wouldn't keep them at the school in their art folder. They're like, I'm taking this home with me now. Like they wouldn't risk it. So it was a good project. And they really like it. The only challenge is it's art materials times 62 children. So
You're teaching 62 kids at a time?
split in two. So we do the first group and then we do the second group.
Wow.
So yeah, it's fun, but yeah, it's they loved your technique and it's super approachable, and they love making papers. And I know in our first episode, so if listeners haven't tuned into the first episode with Catherine, it's wildly popular. Tune into the first one to learn about more, because you've like found freedom when you first came back into collage, right?
Yeah, I'd say I found my voice because I had played with lots of other, I played with any kind of art form that struck my fancy. I just gave myself the freedom. But when I discovered that I could actually do painting and collage at the same time, it changed the whole game. Then I really totally embraced what I love to do, and then it expanded quickly after that, actually.
Yeah, very quickly, because I think the last time we spoke, you were just like, I'm going to try doing YouTube again. And now it's like, and that's what I messaged you to talk about, right? Setting up, was it?
And that was
I
yes.
actually don't know where my phone is, but a couple of weeks ago, I was like, should come back on and talk about, was it diversified income streams and being a multifaceted creative? Was that it? I can't remember.
We can go anywhere you want. But I
Yeah,
feel
for
like the
sure.
first time we talked, I didn't realize the first time we talked was so long ago. And
It was.
and it was actually before I had done my YouTube channel. And now I've been doing it for, well, over a year. And I've taken a short break at the moment, but I'm just about to
It's a
start.
lot.
Doing a YouTube channel is an animal, probably the same as doing a podcast, but it's very, very planned out. You know, in order to do a YouTube channel that people want to actually watch, you know, you have to, there's a lot of ingredients. And I have been kind of teaching myself the ingredients and taking courses, you know, at the same time. Like, how do
So
actually do that?
you do all the editing and you self-taught?
I have a virtual assistant that does some editing for me, but you know, in terms of like what it looks like, that's me. You know, I've put together based on what I've seen from other artists. So kind of put together a format, and you know, it's working. You know, I get a lot of views, and you know, a lot of views brings people to my account, and then they want to take classes with me. So it's kind of like it's an infrastructure. You know, YouTube is one piece of the pie to get people to broaden my audience, to broaden my reach. And it also helps me, you know, because the focus of my YouTube channel at the moment is how to create collage papers. So every week I teach.
So it's one thing, but it's like a working cog, but with one focus point. I got to be on the Jenna Kutcher podcast. I don't know if you know Jenna Kutcher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
the
cool.
stars aligned, and somehow I got my way on there by just putting myself out there in her little gold digger community. And she's like, that was part of her advice, was like, focus on that one thing that people are grabbing onto. Like, what is working well? Don't try to do everything, but what's that one thing? I would say with her, it was like the Pinterest thing, like that was her one thing that grew and grew and grew, and she focused on it, focused on it, and then could build her team and like spread out more. So with your channel, you're doing kind of like, you have a focus, but it's leading to something greater. So I really think it's important for creatives to know, and I want to hear your process and thought at the beginning, because You know, we all want to be popular with reels and shorts and etc. But the goal isn't followers. Like, you want followers, right? But the goal isn't followers. It's to have those ideal clients and like leading them somewhere. And that, you just said, was to your classes. So it's not all for, I love making videos and I love being popular on YouTube, right?
No, because YouTube is an animal. I mean, as in like a monster. It's, you know, it's a lot. So to me, it's an infrastructure. Like, to me, Instagram is where it all starts for me. You know, so if I get people interested in Instagram, they will be interested in a free 5-day class I have. And that 5 free day class, or so they start in one of two ways. They either find me on YouTube and then they're interested in a 5 free day class, and then they might be interested in a paid class, or they find me on Instagram, free 5-day class, and then they might go to a paid class. So it's all kind of like, how do I?
It's your lead magnet.
It's my lead magnet. And I've had other lead magnets. This is probably my 4th one, the 5 free day class. And before that, they were not successful at all. You know,
interesting. So you found your good lead magnet.
And I've had the same lead magnet for over 2 years.
I noticed that.
Yeah, and it's still going strong. So now
the good.
Yeah, now I'm at the point where I'm doing Facebook ads to it, and it's outrageously successful, to my great surprise, because, you know, there's only so many people I can get organically. And I've gotten my organic reach. I mean, I'm sure my organic reach will continue to expand, but there is a limit to how fast you can grow if you just depend on, excuse me, on, just YouTube or just Instagram by themselves. So it's just in the last 3 or 4 months, I started doing Facebook ads, and now I'm also doing Pinterest, which I had not done.
Pinterest ads.
Not Pinterest ads. That will come. But I actually have a Pinterest person, like a consultant. What do you call them? I guess she's a virtual assistant, but she's an expert on Pinterest, kind of like a Jenna Kutcher. But you know, she works one-on-one with people, so she has taken over my Pinterest account. But that is the same as Instagram or YouTube. You know, people find me all the time on Pinterest, but I'm not very sophisticated, or I hadn't been on. You know, you get people engaged, like, oh, they like what you do, and maybe they'll consider something else. You know, it's building, I guess, you know, you would call it a lead magnet, but it's, you know, it's an infrastructure to lead people to the bigger thing that you're doing, you know, and not a very small percentage of those people will go there. You know, it's 5-10%, and that's perfectly fine, because I also see,
and that's good if it's 5 or 10%.
Oh my God,
that's
5%
great.
Is phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah.
So I see what I'm doing for the rest of the 95% as I'm doing service. You know, I am supporting people in their creativity, and I'm perfectly fine that I'm giving them gifts. You know, that's part of the process, is you give a lot, and for the people you're meant to serve more, they will come along, you know, hopefully for the ride, you know, of what you're offering in a bigger sense. Right.
And so I love that you said you hired virtual assistants, because sometimes people try to figure it all out, and it's so frustrating and time consuming. And it's just easier to pay or make the budget, or, you know, reach out and do those things, even though maybe you don't have the funds for it yet. It will accumulate more funds in the future. So Facebook ads, you have someone doing that. And I'm just curious, because I stopped doing Facebook ads because it was taking I was still making more, but it took about 50% of my income. So I was like, let's go back to the basics and like strip it all down, because my organic reach wasn't as high. So I wanted to really focus on getting that organic reach.
Yeah, I had done Facebook ads earlier too. By the way, can you hear the saw outside? Okay, because we have construction going outside. So I had done Facebook ads also, and they didn't work at all. But the reason they didn't work, I believe, in fact, I'm almost positive, is because I didn't know how to do them. You know, Facebook ads is it's an art. Sorry. is an art form all by itself. So I actually hired someone who's phenomenal. Like she can target, she knows how to set the ad up. She monitors it like multiple times a day. And it is paying for itself in terms of I'm getting a lot of people, who are signing up for my free 5-day class. And that's what I want. You need a robust mailing list. That's as you said, followers are fine, but followers are the beginning of the process. I need to move people from followers and subscribers to actually subscribing to my newsletter. That's because no one is going to buy a class from me or buy my art unless they're part of my insider community, which is my newsletter.
When they sign up for your class, though, they have to become a subscriber, right?
When they sign up for the 5-day class, they automatic, and it says that, that you are now part of my insider community, and you can unsubscribe. But most people don't. Most people stick around because I do my best to provide a lot of value. I give a lot of free stuff at the moment, it's not every week, but soon I'll be in the role of doing it every single week again. YouTube is just about to pick up for me. So starting in the end of April, I'll be doing weekly YouTubes again. So that means
you show up live?
I show up live, and a lot of people show up live with me. The whole idea is I want people to know who I am. Like, do you want to learn from me? I used to do this on Instagram, by the way. So for the first year, which was 2022, I did Instagram lives and did paper demos on Instagram. The problem is they get lost there. They're still there. They sit there in highlights, but it's almost impossible to find them. But I'm doing the exact same thing. Now they're on YouTube live. And then I download those videos, have them edited, and I upload them the next day, as polished YouTube.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I don't know a lot. I would love to learn. I don't know a lot, along with our viewers, a lot about YouTube live. So you can just download it right after you. It gives you that option. And then you can recycle content, because that's really great advice too, is like, and Jenna Kutcher, actually, I just saw I think one of her ads of how many places she recycles her podcast.
Really?
Right? So you have your podcast. With mine, I always make a reel and a short, and my podcast is not as at all as popular as Jenna's, but one day maybe. But you have reels, shorts, you cut it up, and then you put it on. She has it on LinkedIn. I put it on all the streaming places as well as on YouTube. Like, you recycle, and then I use that same advice and the theme for the podcast again in the newsletter, and then feature guests in the community. And here's what we talk about in the community. Like, you have this one thing, and it can be reused and recycled, and you don't have to be actually the jack of all trades quote. And I want to look it up for people. Because everyone says the beginning of it, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So it is good to be, it's the opposite of the actual quote's meaning, right? So it's good to be good at multiple things, and it's good that you're a creative and that you figured out a way to support your creativity by educating, but to draw the focus in on something that's working, I think, is what you've done really well, and then repeating it over and over. I'm not very good at that, and I would love to become better.
Well,
same with my art. Like,
well,
I
Brandy,
can't make the same art.
You seem like you're focused. Well, I actually have my hands in several pots too. Like, I know you're doing your podcast, you do your art, you do a business education. I mean, you're doing a lot of things. So am I. But what I'm doing is I try to just focus on one project at a time. So for instance, right now, I am very involved in I'm developing a class so I can teach in Europe. I want to teach in Italy. And I have a
good goal.
I know. I know. Well, my long-term goal, and to do classes in Italy or wherever you're going to go, it's usually a 1.5 year lead time. So I'm putting it together now. I'll sell it now, but it will be August 2025. So, but that's my kind of long-term vision. Is it in the summers? I will, spend a month or two, traveling around Europe, teaching. But you have to start somewhere. So that's my
So are
goal.
you going to run that yourself, or you're working with
No,
someone else on that?
no, usually you get invited by a venue. So I have a beautiful villa in Italy that they do art retreats. So they asked me to be one of their artists. And once I get one under my belt, then it's easier to, decide where I want to go. And,
Right. Just, I'll join you one day. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, I think there's
anyone wants to learn a portrait, I'm there.
I think there's lots of opportunity for that. They're everywhere. There's so many destination art retreats all over France and Italy and Spain. And so that's what I want to do. But so that's my project right this moment. But that is as soon as I finish this, which is like the next 2 days, because there's a lot of moving pieces to this, like photographs and write-ups and all of that. Then I'm going right into YouTube again. So I have to, plan out at least 6 months of YouTube. And as soon as that's done,
oh my gosh.
Then I'm planning a very inexpensive course. It's called Collage Kickstart 2.0. That'll be a very inexpensive kind of a next step for people who have taken my freebie. But there's but it's always one, okay, this is the project now. 100% of my energy into one project and then go
until
to the
you finish it, like obsessively.
For the most part, yeah.
I'm super like that. I'm like, I have to get this weird thing that I thought of that I needed to make. Now I'm making it and I won't stop until it's finished, or I'll probably never finish it. Or I won't.
You feel psychotic because you're like running in too many directions. And I used to be that way. When I was selling my art for my main income, I felt like I had too many hands in too many pots and it was constantly like running in different directions. But it really helped when I decided, okay, I didn't think this was going to be my path. I really didn't think being an art educator was ever in my future, but it just happened and it was just right because I was in my professional life, meaning my corporate life. That's what I was. I was a corporate trainer. So doing this with art actually feels completely at home and I love it. It's like, I just love connecting with people like this and turning people on to themselves. It's like the coolest.
Yeah, being an artist is very isolating. It can be.
Yeah. And the teaching isn't. Even though this is online teaching, I feel incredibly connected to people all over the world. And I just keep coming up with new ideas for new classes and how can I do this bigger and better? And then one day maybe I'll sell my art again. But right now, this is the season of my life, to find new ways to market, new ways to teach, new things to teach. It's just a blast.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine stopping this anytime.
No, strike while the iron's hot. Like really, it's working because your YouTube grew insanely fast, but from, other, like from your Instagram growing and a lot of that stuff, because you led people to YouTube from your Instagram, right?
And vice versa. I led people to Instagram from my YouTube. So it's kind of like this circle that goes around. I don't know which, my Instagram actually grew really fast because I happened to post a reel that went off. That it got viral. And so I went from this time last year, I had like 35,000 followers, which is not low, but I posted one reel and it went viral around, it was amazing. And I got up to 100,000 in a very short amount of time, over maybe 6 months. That one reel was circulated so many times that I got over 100,000 Instagram followers.
Let's talk about that. Because actually, so that's what I teach people. I just came out with a new marketing freebie, I said the freebie, but my first freebie was so popular that I was like, I should make a mini marketing class with better content and longer. So I did that last week obsessively. And but that's what we focused on because yes, I actually did it last Wednesday with my day.
Pretty impressive. I saw it. I was reading it like, wow, How the hell did you do that?
So hopefully I was just like, I need to get this out of my head and out there to people, because it's so, people are just, it's so frustrating. And they're like, if I just pay money to this and boost it and whatever, and click the boost button, that is like the actual wrong move. And I learned
Right.
it from Dina Brodsky, who's almost at 1 million followers now.
Oh my.
She's on her podcast next week.
Wow.
Another old one that I didn't put out soon enough, but I wanted to wait till our new site was up. Anyway, so her course was all about getting viral, right?
Really?
And then I've learned some things since her course, obviously, because it's my own experiences, and my own marketing research and what other marketing people are doing. And so, yes, that marketing stuff has been a little bit like more popular, and then that leads to diversify your creative income, because I really do want to empower other artists to know that being a successful artist and having these like confines or limiting beliefs, like you have to sustain your practice from your artwork sales, like that can be debilitating. I know, I did it for over a decade.
Yeah, me too.
Like currently I've only sold one piece from my collection, but I have 3 murals coming up. So I'm not worried about my summer off from my art academy where I make 0 income, because I have that mural income. So I'm going to be able to pay for groceries for those months and our trip to Montreal. So it's like having all those pieces of the pie. But where I started with the viral thing is Dina, and I talk about it in that podcast a lot, and that's what she does with many, many other steps, but focusing first on getting how to get viral, make viral content. And here's the little formula, which I do go over in the marketing class. You've obviously found a key, but those viral videos are way better for organic reach and getting followers like that. You said,
amazing.
You went from 30 to 100 really fast because of one viral reel. So if you do this one thing, and it's figure out the formula to get those viral things that work, and then you repeat it. Like, for example, I have to do another Posca pen fixing video because it was popular, or what medium to avoid. People love when you talk about mediums, right? And so to repeat what works too, I think is really smart. And people forget about the one video, so then you just redo it in a different, more way.
Or you repost the same one. So I had
I've never done that.
Oh, I mean, why do another one? So I had this one bubble. I was teaching how to make bubble papers. So I had 4 different ways.
That was cool.
So 4 different ways to make bubble papers. So that one got me, I don't know, 3 million views. That's good, right? And then I got another 30,000 followers on Instagram. So about 3 months later, I was kind of like, I wanted to promote another big event, which I think was Collage Kickstart Live. I do this big 10-day event in January. So I reposted it.
It's so much work. When you talk about these things, I'm like, I'd never be able to do that right now with kids.
Oh, well, with kids, but you do so many other things around kids. You're doing just as much, just in a different
one
thing.
Day I'll be able to show up for people in
but you're showing up in a zillion ways already. It's just you do it. So you do it around kids. I do it straight through, but it's the same thing. Anyway, so I reposted this one bubble video, same exact thing, no differences at all. It's just that I said, if you would like to learn this paper, join me for this live workshop. I got another 4 million views, and another
That's amazing. Good for you.
Another 40,000 followers. And then I reposted it one more time, and that got another, I don't know, 3 million views. But I have to tell you, I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of process videos with papers. And I get anywhere from 15 to maybe 100,000 views. I think that's a pretty good range. 15 I'm happy with. 10
That's
I'm happy
amazing.
with. But
if I get over 10, I'm happy as a clown.
Absolutely. 10 means you hit something. But I don't get that many followers off that. No. But what gives followers
I ruined my account a long time ago I hired this service, and it was one of those services that gave you bot followers, and it fucked up my account. so hard. So by the way, never do that, anyone.
Yeah, don't do that.
You can hire people to get organic followers, like real ones. And I stopped it right away after a few days. I was like, oh, but then I had all these bots. So when you hit people who aren't interacting, so bots, you'll never exit the funnel. So I have to work my ass off to exit the funnel. Hard.
Really?
So Dina says if you've ever done that, if your account has bot followers, you have to start a new Instagram. And I was like,
Really?
I can't step off this account. Like, I don't know.
I don't understand. Why does it get you in a cycle with bot followers? I don't understand. I know it's hard.
Because, yeah. So, you know how the funnel works. So if, let's take say you have 1,000 followers in the funnel. And I do this exact same thing in that little mini $15 marketing course. So the funnel is you have 1,000 followers, and TikTok and Instagram and Shorts work in the way of they show it to 1%. So they show it to, what's 1% of 10?
Yeah.
1,000. Is it 10? 10. They show it to 10 people, and they're like, are these 10 people liking this video? Are they interacting with it? Are they sticking around and reading the caption? Are they saving it? Are they sharing it in a story? Okay, they are. Let's release it to 100. Okay, how are those 100 people reacting? They're kind of reacting, so we'll keep it here a while. And then it's kind of like sees how many people. And then if they're not interacting, if they're not interested, it just stays there. So when you get viral content, you're hitting, and they won't spread it around. But the goal of Instagram or all social media is people's time. So you want to, like, hook, line, and sinker. You want to hook people with really interesting things, like right away visually, or like a hook line, like my one I just did, like, what medium to never use, what medium, and people are like, I want to know.
What is it? I want to know.
What is it? It's graphite. Never use graphite in mixed
I
media.
did read that. See, you hooked me. I actually read your post. I was dying to find out. Yes,
and it's continuing to, like, crawl. And so I'll probably do that again. But also the visual was it was of Scarlett Johansson's face. I did it for Halloween and made her Catwoman. So it was like, her face is very eye-catching anyway, because you see it everywhere. So it's something people are already familiar with. And then it goes from, like, drawing to, like, full eye makeup face, right? And then to Catwoman. So visually, I got a hook line, and then visually very appealing. So it's very important that people, like, figure out those formulas that work and then kind of repeat them. I think of what I'm learning from you today. And get out of that funnel with viral.
But if you hire, I've never done that to get followers. I've done other bad things, but with the bot,
it was a long time ago.
But how do you get stuck in a funnel with bots?
Because so say I have 5,000 or 10,000 bot followers. I went and deleted them as much as I could. There's still a ton, even when you have viral reels. If you go through the followers and every time you get a follower to click on them to see if they're a real person, a lot of times they're not. Like, I would say at least 80% they're not.
How do you know if they're not real? How do you know?
Because they have, like, 0 followers.
Oh, okay.
They don't post a lot. They don't have interactions. They don't have captions on there.
Interesting.
It's annoying to erase bots by hand, and it's annoying to figure out who non-followers are so I can get my reach up. So I actually still have to scroll through followers to make sure they're real.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you have a lot of fake followers,
they're not going to interact with your post.
So that lowers.
So then you'll be stuck in that funnel.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. The only viral post I have, and it's really frustrating for me, is that Christmas Teddy and I made poppycock. So, like, a caramel popcorn.
Yeah.
And it was so popular because it's so good. But it was so popular because people saved it so they could rewatch the recipe over and over and over again. Because I have the whole, so I'm like, I need to teach people stuff like I teach them in real life or in my classes, but teach them on my Instagram.
Right.
Clearly.
Right.
I'll
That's why
get better.
that's
I'm
why my
always learning.
that's why my bubble reel went.
You're
Because,
teaching them something.
well, yeah, and people saved it because it looked like I was teaching you the whole thing. It's just that it's exponentially more complicated than what the reel looks like. But then I just send you to YouTube, and in
Yeah.
YouTube you get
Longer
the full version.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah, the full version. But you're teaching people something that they wanted, like a project that they want to do. I guess we just told everyone the secret. The secret to how it works is that you want people to save it and rewatch it over and over to get the directions, to figure it out. They're like, how do okay, I need a cup of butter and right? Like, I'm like, maybe I just should have, I love cooking. I'm like, maybe I should have just gone with cooking.
You forget the artist thing. Just become a
Yeah.
professional chef.
Yeah. My dad is a chef. And
Really?
that's what I wanted to do. And he said, no, he didn't want that life for me specifically. He's like, the hours are bad, like, and chef's hours are bad. So, but I think you can make being a chef work with the same formula as an artist and creative. Like, cooking is creativity. I'm not going to do that because maybe one day, but I'm not going to do that because I actually really enjoy cooking a lot. And it's the one thing for myself and my family. And it's like where I'm not, having to share it, having to break it down, having to write it out. And I don't use recipes. So
Really? You make it up?
yes. So I even with baking, once you figure out the formula, like, how much water and flour makes, by consistency what the bread is. And then to make sweetbreads, you add eggs or honey or sugar or whatever. And like, you figure out the formulas. It's always been like something I just knew how to do since a young age. It was easy. So yeah, it's just like a natural thing. Let's stop talking about it because now I'm like, maybe I should have just gone into cooking.
What's funny, but Brandy, I'm just the opposite. I hate cooking so much that
Do you?
my life's ambition for years has been, I know I'll have made it if I can hire someone to cook for me, because I want to finish work and I want it to be there.
So do I.
I don't want to cook ever. But so we are compromised until I find that magical cook, that can just deliver my food every day. We do home delivery. I mean, we do the, it's called Home Chef or Green Chef or Hello Fresh. There's all kind of things. But my husband and I love these as an alternative.
So he doesn't like cooking either?
Oh, no, both of us,
No. Oh no.
I traveled, corporately as my job for years and years, and room service was my gig. Or, I mean, DoorDash. I don't care where I get it from, just bring it to me. You do not want to be involved in the preparation of it.
No. See, I love it. I love.
Good for you.
But it's something I've already like kind of figured out. Like, I'm not really looking to evolve, or like I have figured it out, and like my interests and peaks are in research and creativity, and you got to follow those things, right? Like, I already know how to make sourdough every week and how to make the ferment and all that. Well, I can't have it anymore. I have rashes everywhere. I can't have eggs, gluten, stuff like that. So it's annoying. But when I could, like, I loved doing all of that stuff. But it's like I did that, and like it just kind of boring to me now. Like, when I see other people do it, though, I'm like, you left your ferment in too long, or used too much compared to the water and the flour. So like when I see other people doing it, I'm like, oh, like Jenna specifically Kutcher, she posted a picture of her thing on Instagram, and I was like, I know she would never message back on Instagram, but I was like, just so you know, this is how you can adjust to get your second rise better or whatever.
Wow. That's impressive.
Like, it's super dorky, right?
It's impressive you have that skill.
But it's like, when we're creative people, we have different interests in different things, right? We have different obsessions. And when I talked to Jenna, I asked I actually mostly forget, but we were running out of questions and we had like 2 minutes left. I was like, what's your ideal day? And she started talking about everything else but like what she does. She's like, I've started rowing. I'm taking this sourdough class. Like, I don't know if it's like an ADHD thing where you get obsessed with stuff and you learn it really quickly until you're like not interested
I'm
anymore.
wondering if it's because, at least, like you and I, we're so involved in our art businesses that if you ask me what my ideal day was, there'd be a little bit of art in there, but not much, because my ideal day is when I get to have a vacation from what I do all the time. I'm more than Monday through Friday. I do a lot on the weekends and nights, and I love every second of it. But my ideal day, I want to sit on the porch with a favorite book. I want to paint my nails. I want to go to the spa. There's all these things that don't involve my art because it's a vacation from what I do every day. Because my art business is my job. This is not, people, glamorize, oh, you're a full-time artist. I love being a full-time artist because Monday through Friday, I do what I love the most, but it is still a job. And it is the hardest job I have ever had in my entire life. And I've had really hard jobs, but now I'm the boss and I am doing work that is so freaking satisfying. I'm supporting and inspiring people and seeing the most amazing artwork they create. And I'm creating artwork too, alongside them. I mean, it's the best job ever, but it's also the hardest one. So I need a vacation from my job,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't honestly, after trying to be a full-time artist by selling art and churning out so many custom artworks to support myself financially, I don't think I'd choose to draw in a day anymore either. you know, I love what I do, and maybe I would do a little bit in the day, but like to make the art, like I get that cup full with work, right? I get to
Exactly.
create with kids and see the
Exactly.
joy in
Yes.
Art Academy. And that's the biggest piece of my pie, by the way, because I'm very open about pie, especially in our course. I did it with Shannon, Amy, and she's traveling the world right now. Actually, I'm going to hook you two up because she's amazing. And she does a lot of art education and one-on-one mentorship as a big piece of her pie. But they were in Finland and now they're in Italy and a whole
Teaching
bunch of
art.
different.
Teaching art.
Yeah, no, she has 2 young kids, so they're traveling the world while they're young, but she's still doing her mentorship and online classes. But she could maybe give you some like tips on where the most beautiful spots are.
Oh,
And she's
great.
just awesome anyway. You'll really love her.
That'd be fabulous.
But
I feel the same way, Brandy, is that, the art business is art. Even though I don't produce a lot of new art now. In fact, my art is like, I'm doing this little 100-day project. So I got like a whole book full of all my 100-day collages. And I love that. But that's, 30 minutes a day, if I'm lucky. But the rest of it is 100% art. Figuring out YouTube and figuring out I'm designing a workshop for Italy, and that's all art. I'm just not producing a physical product to sell as in an art piece. It's all art though.
I look forward to making reels. I think it's fun
Do you?
because it's art.
Yeah.
It's videography and editing. It's artwork. It is.
And it's challenging. It's intriguing. I'm at the age where I could retire, and it's interesting. A good number of my friends are retired, and
Are they bored? I feel like
they would never tell me that, but I can't. To me, it looks boring. I just can't imagine not being completely I'm serious. I'm captivated by my day. When I stop at 6 o'clock, I have to force myself to stop at 6 because I'm like, oh, I want to do this next thing because it's so much fun.
yeah.
But I really need to go read a book.
But for self-care.
Yeah. For balance and sanity.
That's why I like the balance of motherhood and
Really?
doing this is because like they force me to go outside. I love going outside. I run every morning almost or bike or whatever. But Like they snap me out of that obsessive mode of like, I just want to do one more thing. I just one more, and they're like, no,
Yeah,
I just
right.
we're doing chickens right now, and they're super into it to go to my dad's farm. No, I just let out all the chickens into the garage. So actually, you have to come over here and do
I've
that.
been watching
Or
your reels on chickens.
yeah,
So you're growing them for your father?
yeah. So he has like he has land, and this is one day, I'm not sure about this dream because I know it would be hard, and maybe I can get some advice because you said you're close to retirement age. He's got all this land, and like one day obviously I'll be able to buy into it or inherit parts of it or whatever. And I'm just like, should I build out there? Should I have a retreat center? And when I talked with my friends in Victoria, I went out and I was podcasting on my vacation because there's like really cool female artists in Victoria. We met up and did a podcast, and Susan hosted Salvati, and they were like, you could sell plaid jackets because that's Canadian, and campfire photos. And they're like planning out the Canadian parts of the retreat center. But I'm like, also though, like, and an eco-friendly one. I'm like, also though, that'd be so much work, but obviously rewarding. And I will one day have more time.
Yes, I think you'll have a tremendous amount of time. Do you know Jeannie Oliver?
Yes. So she's on my podcast coming up.
Oh, wow.
Is it Jeannie or Jean?
I have no idea. You'll find out.
I was like, she probably said,
I'm thinking
I'm so nervous when it comes to names. And I was like, is it
the way it's
Jean,
spelled.
Jean?
But anyway,
Like, what is it?
she's amazing in terms of
But
what
she's retiring from it.
So she's not going to do the retreat. I know she sold her home where she did the retreat, but she's actually retiring from it. She's not
And
retiring.
I was just thinking, I was like, dude, you've got my like dream house life sitting there.
No, her
like,
house, the house she sold was like the best house in the world. But now she's renovating a brand new another house that's dated that is going to be fantastic. But she's retiring from hosting workshops.
She said she's shifting gears.
Oh, okay, that's better.
So she's making like a whole like I don't think she really wants to focus on that anymore. From the sounds of, from what I can remember from our conversation, she said she was feeling like she needed something different and new. And I was like, when you see her stuff, you're like, but you did so well. And there's like 200 people there, like for like whatever those cost, like that's a lot of, saying goodbye to a lot of something that worked really well.
Yeah. And people I have never been to a retreat of hers, but people say they're amazing.
I had Wendy Brightville.
Oh,
do you know Wendy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. She said she's gone and they were amazing. And then she pointed me in her direction. And then I reached out and saw if she wanted to come on. And she said,
good for you.
See, the podcast, you get to talk to like the coolest people in the world and like pick their brains. And you're so great and you're so open and honest. That's why I'm like, the podcast takes up so much time and energy, but I'm like, then I wouldn't have like those same friendships and connections and like, one day doing a retreat together or teaching somewhere. Like I want to travel again. I know I can't as much in this season of life.
Right.
Just leave for a month. Like that's not going to happen. Probably it could, but that's not fair to my partner or my family.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, it's not time. It's not time now.
I'll have time later. I will. One day they won't give a shit about me leaving for a month at all, right? Like probably in 10 years, they'll be like, Mom's somewhere off again or whatever. And my partner's good. He's always supported me. I did them before we had kids. I did residencies, lots, and they're great. So yeah, like one day I do with all the women that I've talked to, I envision like, grouping together and doing classes and retreats. And I don't just like vacations. I like paid vacations.
Oh, me too. I'm actually going to the beach for 11 days. I call it a solo art retreat.
Nice.
And it's my fourth time, and it's the most heavenly thing, and it's tax deductible. But I really do art while I'm there. It's just that, there's something special about being by yourself. Even
I
though
think so
I
too.
have no kids, by the way. So you'd think I am by myself, but it doesn't feel that way. My life is, very complicated. So it just feels good. I love, much the beach is my place.
Oh,
I mean, if I could, I would live on the beach permanently, but
hey, you
not
could get there.
not the season of my life right now.
No,
Season of
you
my life.
could get there if you keep going the way you do. Oh, I had a curious question about, so you grew your YouTube. Are you at the point where you're earning income from ads on YouTube?
Oh, you do that really easy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty early on.
Well, easy for you. When you
Well,
built
I
it,
got,
it just
yes,
worked.
yes. But I got it pretty early. All you need is like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. And then you
Mm-hmm.
apply. And so I got that within the first couple of months. So I do earn income, but it's not, you could make an entire income from YouTube easily, but it's kind of like getting a viral Instagram video. You got to figure out what the formula is, because there's a lot of pieces to it. And so I'm learning that, because I wouldn't mind having that as a reliable income source. But right now I do earn money every month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very,
It's not significant yet?
it's 150 a month at the moment.
Oh
But
yeah, that's
no,
that I
but when
would
I
say
was,
not
but
significant yet.
so I've taken a break from YouTube from December, and this is April. So I haven't done any YouTube, but it's stayed steady without, and I grow every single day on YouTube. It's unlike Instagram. Instagram, you can take a dip every now and then for some odd reason, like you lose followers, people unfollow. No one unfollows you on YouTube. Once
Yeah.
they subscribe, you got them. So I continue to have a consistent income. If you call 150, big, it's not. But when I'm doing weekly videos, then it's 300 a month, or 300 a month. But people are making 10,000 a month. This is a pretty regular thing. You just got to figure out the formula.
Oh my gosh. Well, the people who do kids stuff are like, they must be just bathing or swimming in their outdoor pools in money.
Really?
Like, well, for instance, if you look up Gabby and Alex, that's like the dad clearly like does the video content, and then he probably gets just I think he started editing it himself, and then obviously, but oh my gosh, it's insane. Those people who do kids YouTube things, like they're just or unspeakable, and then they sell their merch. Like their chocolate bars are in the grocery store. Like
Really?
it's insane.
Wow.
Feastables. Mr. Beast sells Feastable chocolate bars, and I have to buy these disgusting chocolate bars every time I go to the grocery store because, like they've got, but they also spend like sometimes they wreck like $1 million car or something so dumb, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is wrong? This is what's wrong with the world.
There's a guy in Scotland who's insecure. He's very sweet, and his name is George, I think. And he puts these videos out probably only once a month, but they're about his lifestyle in Scotland. Like he did this long video series on how he renovated his little kind of mini house, and then what it's like to be a YouTube person. I don't know, but it's so sweet. And he gets 10,000 a month revenue. And he's like one of my idols, just because he's not really, I mean, I would love to do a lifestyle. This is what it's like to really be an artist. This is what the real game is. Most of us are not earning a full income off selling art, which, by the way, no one tells you.
No.
So I think this might be a YouTube channel. Yeah, like actually,
some people are like Demetra Milan. She's also been on the podcast, and they're so sweet, and they run the Milan Institute. She posted what she sells, her artwork, like what she made. I'm just like, holy.
She's the minority. Most of it takes.
Oh my gosh, she's like the 1%.
It takes time to build that up. You just don't all of a sudden sell a full income. If I could sell a full income on my art, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, I would have done it already.
But maybe not. because then it wouldn't have gotten me here if I was just selling the art. And I did sell art for a long time, but you just can't sell enough. Basically, you're a factory, unless you can get to a
And
really,
that's how she felt. She talked about
oh,
that
really,
on our first podcast interview. She was successful when she was like a child prodigy.
oh,
She made this, her parents were already artists through galleries. So she already had those gallery connections, right? To begin.
that helps.
Big time. And then like 4 or 5 galleries were representing her by the time she was 16. And then she talks about when she found her like voice and combined like the woman with like a wolf or a horse or whatever. And then she was like, I would have to make one a week. So she was selling one giant oil painting a week. And so she was like, and then the gallery takes whatever. And she's like, I wasn't in control. Although, and I was totally burnt out, So
What did you do?
like she started, like her Instagram grew too really well. In the early stages. I think she's where everyone goes like later, where you're like, okay, I haven't seen a lot of growth in a long time, but she was like an early Instagram grower. And then she just started selling herself, right? And then obviously at the same time, like her husband does they host that game show, or not game show, their what is their show called? They went to Greece with those artists and made a show about it, and they have the Milan Institute because her mom started doing, like, it's a big creative factory of like them all working. There's lots of them and they all work together, right? The Milan family. I'm surprised you haven't heard of them.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so they do this like 1-year mastery program for artists, which I actually recommend because a lot of artists spend a lot of time and money in art school and come out not on top. I was one of them. So, and you have to learn about business yourself later. I'm sure the programs have changed since I've done it, but Facebook, like by the time I graduated, had just kind of come out. So, and I could sell art just off Facebook. Those were the days.
But you still have to sell a lot of it. At very high price points in order to, because
you have to keep making it.
Oh,
it's not sustainable.
I have a good friend that I met from Instagram, and we were basically at the same level. We were making small collages, and she was selling them, 35, 50, 75, somewhere in the under 100.
See, that'd be my fucking nightmare to package up and ship.
Okay, but then she had her dream was to sell in galleries in the Midwest. So she applied to lots of galleries. She put out packages to I don't know how many galleries, and 2 or 3 of them hit. So she got 2 or 3 galleries in the Midwest. And so now the reason I say that, the reason I say this is like being a factory is because she is a factory. She is supplying art to these 2 or 3 galleries. And I think she said she made $100,000 and maybe it was last year, but what she really made was 40 because like she sold 100, but the gallery took half and she paid for her supplies. And she's living
so not net profits.
No,
that was her gross income.
No. And she's living in a 1-bedroom where her living room is is her studio. And she's successful. She is a sought after artist who is barely making it. And she's like just churning. It's like, and she's like, I would consider like mid-level. She's made it into galleries. People want her work. They wait for her showings. And she's not making very much, even though her art sells well. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I think it's a small percentage of people that can just make an income. Unless
that's what I was doing. And I was like,
hit it lucky. If you hit it lucky.
I was like, no. I said no to that. I did hit that level of churning. I was making 8 pieces a month and they were selling 8 custom pieces a month. Wow. And they were selling. And Ouch. Then financially, I was like, this isn't enough for the work I'm putting out. And then I wrote my book, took a break, wrote my book. Teddy was in there. So he takes up everyone's time. And then I shifted I was like, this is year 1, new business practice, new business model. That's when Shannon invited me to join her mastermind. And she said that to me in the midst, or it was the year before I burnt out, I was in Shannon's mastermind. We were in it for a long time together, a lot of artists from around the world. She handpicked artists to be in this group. And she's like, Brandy, I'm glad you're succeeding. That's really great. But is it sustainable? And I remember, like, I literally remember those words ringing in my head. And when she said that to me, and I was like, I'm fine, but I wasn't fine. And like, you're so grateful that people want your art.
Yeah.
Right. But it was killing me creatively. Like, your creativity is in a well that's like constantly full. It drains out. And mine was empty. And I wrote a book for a year and a half. That's how empty it was.
Wow.
I couldn't paint. Like, I did to keep up with like the orders, but I don't even say I do them anymore. And I only get a few a year. And if they're good ones, if they're good orders, like a woman from Texas, a designer, loved the piece I did for Sarah Baumler with HGTV, like House of Brian and Island of Brian or whatever, all those shows. And she's like, I want one just like that. And it was like a $9,000 commission. Wow. So I'm going to say yes to that. Right. Yeah. That's like, and it's fun. But you're still working with a client. You're still, you know, following their parameters. So like a little bit not fun, right? You're still, I couldn't imagine going back to doing that all like my full time and not making enough profits and draining the creative well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's smart to set up those diverse and sustainable passive income streams. And then when you do create, it feels good.
I know. That's why
I want to be there.
I know. That's why I've been doing the 100-day project, because I mean, I really love it because I'm not doing it for anybody. You know, I'm just doing it for me, and I'm growing so much. So that's really fun. But then it turns into, now I'm pressured to do a collage every day.
Yeah. But so, I think it's good. There's something good about that. And why I love you're doing that is because that will feed into other work.
It does.
And to get better as a creative, like, you can't just step in and sell classes, because like, you have to be good at what you do and you have to know what you're doing. Yeah. And it took you a season to get there, of creating and struggle and process and showing up every day is how I got better. Doing hundreds, it was 132 in a year.
Wow.
Hundreds of portraits in a year. Wow. I can make a really good portrait. And then that led to portrait class, right? So like, it's not all for nothing.
That's absolutely right.
Right. So and I'm like, wow, other people like this too.
No,
I don't need to keep it a secret. I don't need to make all the portraits in the world. Like,
the key is like, how do you fit that into, how do you fit real art making, you know, as opposed to business art making into your life, which is why I like the 100-day project, because it does set a rhythm up. And I mean, I've already developed classes off of it, because I realized, oh, I could teach this.
Yes. Okay. I know. Isn't it funny? You're like, I did this for myself, but now I want to do something with it.
Well, that's the problem when you're in art, you know, when you get into art education, you come up with something and you go, oh, I can teach it. And then suddenly it takes a little bit of the fun out of it. I mean, it's still fun, but you're no longer just doing it for the pure joy of it. Now my brain is churning. Oh, okay. This is how I would teach this. This is the process. This is how I take people through the journey. And that's fun too. But it takes, sorry.
That's okay.
It's not the same as when you're just like throwing paper. For me, you know, it's throwing paper around, you know, and gluing it down like a wild woman. That is so much fun.
Collage is fun. It's so freeing. And because you really can't do it wrong. And if you do, like, it's not like you've put a ton of, you know, your everything into it. It's not like when I'm like 3/4 of the way done the portrait and you're like, wow, I really effed that up so hard. And now that's 40 hours of whatever, right? You're like, oh gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
collage is very forgiving.
yes.
Put it up, you just add another paper on top.
Whenever I do a collection now, I mix collage with portraiture, so I still get that fun element of making the collection, because collage is so fun. So I'm glad you're connecting people to that freeing, and with the making papers too, with what you do is so amazing, because that's freeing too. That's expressionism right there. And then you kind of get to combine it all together with these happy accidents, and it can bring so many people joy. So thank you so much for doing that and making it a resource. And then people feel grateful and they want to support you. And I think that's the key to what you've done as a creative.
Yeah, I think it's part of building a business. You're giving, you give things to people, and people, it's like a relationship you're building, with people you're giving to. And it kind of goes in a circle. You give, they give,
Mm-hmm.
It keeps going around. But I'd say that I probably give more than because that's part
I give a lot too.
Yeah.
And like, I have a lot of creative friends, and they've done a lot of great projects and like photography, videography with me. And last month I was like, like my photographer that shot for the I Am collection, I was like, I'm going to give her one of the pieces from this collection, because why not? Like whatever, like we got to support each other. And I think when you give, and this is not why you give, when you give, you get more in return somehow. You just don't always know what that is. I just gifted a huge piece to the guy who always shows up and does aerial footage and captures me doing murals, my friend Josh. So he always shows, and he will not let me pay him, by the way. So I'm like, this is for the years of showing up.
Wow.
And here, because he's like obsessed with this giant piece. And I was like, he's like, how can I get one like this? How much would it cost? He messaged me like 2 months ago. And I was like, you know what, Josh, why don't you just take that one? Whatever. It was from another collection. It's sitting in a place over there, showing, hasn't sold. Why not?
Wow.
Why not? You don't give, I'm not saying give your art away. Your art has value, but my creative friends, I feel, have supported me in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's an energy exchange, and they'll appreciate it,
It's a lovely way.
There's magic in
a lovely way of
being gracious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, people will trade you for services. Mm-hmm. We could talk for so long.
We could, Brandy, and I love this. We gotta find a way to work together somehow.
We should.
I love your energy. It's like, oh.
Is it? I don't know.
Oh, it's a good thing.
Sometimes it's not, but that's normal. Yeah, no, I think working with other creatives, it always happens at the right time for the right reason, and something bigger and cooler happens, and you just never know what it is, but you got to be up for it.
I agree.
I would love that. Here, I'll stop recording. Thanks for being here, everyone.
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.
Thank you so much to our supporters and our community partners. We could not do this podcast and outreach and projects in our community without you.
that is Red Bicycle Communications. They are so amazing. They uplift in so many ways in our community. Jill started her business and she talks about it on the podcast. So Jill Kelly, check out that first episode. She's come on a few times and empowered others along the way. So she's grown her own business and her vision, and she was even featured in the Toronto Star, I believe. Is that the right newspaper? Hopefully. It was very cool. It was a very cool business feature because she was like, I'm going to try this out in my community and we'll see if it works and if it doesn't. And obviously it's been like probably more than a decade since, and they're doing really well. And they have founded the Women in Business Awards. So I'm very proud to be a partner with them. We have Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. I love them so much. They make me feel good in my own skin. It's one of my biggest touch points and what I'm most self-conscious about. And I recently have been starting to get some of my tattoos removed that I got when I was 16 and 19. So obviously I didn't think those through, but it doesn't hurt, which was very cool and very surprising. So they are the only people locally who do tattoo removal, and of course, face treatments and a whole bunch of another like laser hair removal and an array of, you can do injections and a whole bunch of stuff. So check Nouveau out. We also have BioClean Disaster Services. They're so wonderful, and their mission is, I love their mission statements and their values. It's to uplift community through women and children. So what happened, and I remember talking to them about this when we initially partnered, is what happens when you empower females is they live a better life, and if they have children, then they raise better children, and that is the way that to empower community and growth and I guess like challenge the poverty cycle in a way. So so I love talking to them about that, and in our initial conversations of when they became a partner, and they have helped us along the way with mural washing and a lot of different projects around the city. So I love them so much, and they do a wonderful job because I mean, it's for usually like if your basement got a flood for some strange reason, like that's your most vulnerable time in your life, and they're there for you to help you through and ease any situation or help you in any way, because that is like when stuff like that happens, it's so like it's so frustrating. So they support people in that journey. And then we have Oasis and Hot Yoga Spin Studio, safe space for you to rest your mind and gain more energy and come back to yourself again. So I love it there. It's always been, it's a beautiful space. They have gorgeous plants, and it'll just refresh you and revitalize you. We're so lucky to have them in our community. Thank you so much for being here, and we will chat with you soon, my friends.